everybody, and welcome back to Immigration Nation. My name is Klein. I'll be your host today, and I'm with Miss Zoe Zhang-Louie, and we are just going to go over a couple things in the immigration realm, but obviously she will be able to explain it better than I can. So with that, Zoe, if you'll just take it away and give us a little information about yourself, about your firm, and take it away.
Yeah, hi everybody. When I first came here, my dad first came here when I was only 3 years old. I came here roughly at 10 years old with my mom. Just had with nothing but a little suitcase with me, and my dad came over to me for the first time. I saw him like 6-7 years later. He was in this like torn up clothing, like his clothing would be stained because he just came out from his restaurant work. He was that's how my family had been restaurants. And when I saw him, that was like my resolve, was like, to work so that he doesn't have to work in a restaurant anymore. And then a little bit later on, I found out that, he was waiting for immigration status for like 20 years. After I started law school, I went into law school with that resolve, is that, so that they don't have to work in restaurants anymore. But then the reason I went to immigration law was because his status was held by USCIS for 20 years. So finally, I learned immigration law to be able to call for him. And he was U.S. citizen. He got his U.S. citizenship a few years ago. So
congratulations. That's so awesome.
That's the reason. Yeah. So I started my firm in end of 2015, and in 2016, I sort of just by myself. You think of like your entrepreneur startup. I had like this room in my house that I was, just working on, learning all the aspects of immigration. 2017 was when it really kicked off with a seminar in Cambridge, and I got connected with the public health community, and later from then until now, that's what I've been. My specialty is EB-2 national interest waiver applications, and just self petitions in general. Those who want to work for themselves, the freedom of not being tied to an employer. And it's just expanded from there. A lot of my clients I have a global clientele. A lot of them are from Nigeria that work with the USAID and CDC. And they're coming here, to continue their research in the same area, or in universities. And then I also, since then I've also expanded, to help entrepreneurs that are wanting to start their own business here. Let's see, you name it, the industries I've worked with, dentists, accountants, solar panel installation specialists, technicians, wind power technicians, software app creators. So, I help them come here and start their business. They're able to do whatever they want. They don't have to be tied to an employer. And they're able to, give their family and their kids access better schools and create a better life for their family.
So let's get into what exactly this visa is. We're talking about EB-2s today, and specifically the EB-2 NIW. What is this national interest waiver? What is an EB-2 visa, and who does it apply to? What is the target audience for it?
So the EB-2 national interest waiver is for anybody who your students, your academics, people who just self-starters. Right. Individuals who do not want to work for an employer, or an employer employment-based process traditionally would take too long for them. And one question I often get is, hey, I don't have any publications. Would I qualify? And the quick answer is, yeah, you definitely do. Let's we'll talk about it. We can strategize a case for, you can start your own business, you invest your own business, you create jobs for the U.S. And that's a way to get the national interest waiver of the job offer requirement. And that's the formal name. It's EB-2 category with national interest waiver of the job offer requirement, because you do not have to have an employer to sponsor you.
Wow, that's so nice. And we were discussing before we started filming, one of those pathways through an employer. I think you mentioned it took up to 2 years to even qualify for some of that paperwork. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
So through a traditional employer-based sponsorship process, you first have to go through the Department of Labor to get a prevailing wage determination. And of course, anytime you work with a government agency, the time can be dramatically lengthened, right? So that's the additional step. So after that, you have to do the recruitments based on the regulations that are outlined. So that can take another 2 months. And then you would submit for the labor certification. You assert to Department of Labor, hey, we did the recruitments that you guys required, and we're not able to find someone that are qualified to do this job. So now, then we get into another wait period for the Department of Labor to certify that. And during that time frame, they could also audit you to make sure that the employer, did all those steps to determine that you couldn't find someone. And then that's when you can file the I-140 petition for for an immigrant visa. But through the national interest waiver way, if you qualify, you skip through all of that.
Wow.
The Department of Labor process. You just jump right to the I-140 filing. There's some extensive preparations that we would do, to make sure that you qualify, but instead of waiting for an agency, it depends on the law firm and the client. And we do that in 3-4 months, and your papers, all your documents will be ready to go.
Wow, that is so helpful. And how would these people know if they qualify? Is there like a certain specific set, or is it case by case basis?
So the threshold qualification, EB-2 preference category, you have to have either a master's degree, an advanced degree, or higher. Or you can also show that through bachelor's degree plus 5 years of work experience, and that's U.S. equivalent. So if you have a foreign degree, we can submit for an equivalency certificate to get that answer to see whether you have a degree that's equivalent to a U.S. master's or higher, or a bachelor's degree, and plus your 5 years of progressive work. And if you don't have either of those, you can also show through what's called exceptional ability. And that's a much lower standard than the EB-1A extraordinary ability standard. It's outlined in the qualifications.
Well, that's interesting. Gotcha. So moving on, what are some advantages and disadvantages of this particular visa?
So one particular advantages, as we've mentioned, is the speed, right? That you can get into, you can qualify for a green card much faster. The second advantage is the creativity that goes into creating one of these cases, working with a good lawyer, an experienced lawyer, someone who, we've done so many cases where someone would just, it could be like a mechanical engineer who doesn't really have any publications. You could start a business, and, we show your background work, your contracts that you've worked on, and we've been able to get approvals that way.
Gotcha.
Disadvantage, it's even after we submit it, there's still a really, really long wait time. Currently, they are very backlogged. As of earlier this year, USCIS started accepting premium processing for national interest waiver based cases. So I would say right now the wait is probably around 2 years. We still don't have an accurate prediction of between your I-140 filing, and then you have to file your adjustment of status, which is now, dependent on the visa bulletin. So we don't really know when some of my clients can file that second step. So my advice is to get started on your national interest waiver application as soon as possible, and get that, get a priority date and then you are in the queue to wait for visa availability.
Yeah. I mean, when is USCIS not backed up? Let's be honest.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
traditionally, from what I do, they could submit that step 1 and step 2 at the same time, but they think they thought they were doing a good job, by accepting premium processing. It's like, oh, by the way, we can get these people visas much faster. But
right.
now, of course, more people are applying through that national interest way because it's so beneficial. And now this particular category is not getting
Absolutely.
picked up, where
Yeah.
before it was not.
Right. So you're seeing probably about like a 2-year to what type of time frame are we looking at for this waiver?
For the final completion from the start until they get their green card, I would say probably 2 years.
Gotcha.
But at least, we can get it prepared and get it possibly approved in within 6 months. And okay, I'm in the wait for the green card, because adjustment of status is going to be much, much simpler process than.
Absolutely. Well, if you think about it in general, it's a much faster pathway than a lot of other immigration routes. But I know obviously not everyone qualifies for this quicker path to a green card. But do you have any success stories that you like to share? Something that's, that you're super proud of, maybe for your firm, or just maybe your favorite client success stories over the years?
So, yeah, we have so many. I mean, I'm so proud of, most of my clients' work. And I would say the ones that I stick in my mind are, the entrepreneurs that come in, when I mentioned that third category of exceptional ability, if you don't qualify, if you don't have an advanced degree and you don't have a bachelor's degree, we go into that third analysis, right? So I had one of my first clients, she ended up, after we looked into it, she never got to receive her bachelor's degree because of various hardships in life. But she taught herself to create an app that teaches foreign exchange, how to trade foreign exchange in the market. She had church communities, homeless shelters, adopting her, pushing her app through to other people. And there was this homeless guy that wrote a blog and was like, yeah, I'm able to provide myself income using this app. And so someone without a bachelor's degree, at that caliber, that's just goes to show that's one of my proud success stories. And just overall, I mean, something that we are super proud of is that as of today, we still have 100% approval rate. For 8 years in business. I know
That's incredible.
I keep knocking on wood, I'm like, I can't talk about this too much because
I'm so superstitious too. No, you knock on wood all you need, but that is incredible.
Thank you.
And I just have one more question for you, but I mean, that story is incredible. I was just wondering if you are proud of any particular accomplishment that you as a lawyer, as an immigration lawyer, have accomplished for your firm over the years. Do you have any story that stands out, or maybe a business practice that you're super proud of that has really come to aid in the success of your firm?
Yeah, absolutely. So that 100% approval rate, of course, I've expanded over the years, whereas before it would just be me working on production, pushing cases out, doing the full analysis and everything. But now I have a team of my remote assistants that are working with me and having a whole process of, clients. When a client starts working with us, we work on the checklist together. Then we draft the support letters. We do the forms, and then, finally, the legal analysis thing. And the fact that, we have a whole process of efficiency, we're able to serve a greater number of clients, sometimes more of these types of cases where someone comes in without any type of background, with maybe just, one or two things. We've had cases with wind power technicians, solar panel installation specialists that just really smooth sailing, even though they've just only worked for companies themselves, right, to do that job. And, with my team, I've been able to just maintain this approval rate. So that's something that I'm super proud of.
That's incredible. Yeah, I feel like no one really talks about the expansion of a business, really, and how much work goes into it and creating those processes to be able to accommodate more people. It's something that is very difficult to overcome, and it's incredible that you've been able to be the head of that process. And to keep that 100% approval rating too. That's almost unheard of. It's really impressive.
Just in the national interest waiver sphere. So maybe you want, so just want to clarify that. Yeah. So that's why I'm here to talk about that.
So impressive. That's so cool. She's like, now wait, now. Well, have you set some goals for 2024 and all that?
Yeah, I would like to hire an associate. That's where I'm getting caught right now with my time, but then
Gotcha.
Being able to bring in enough clients to pay for that associate is my second. I have a really good process in place now with my staff. I had to work on that first. My staff members to have an efficient process so that I can make the associate's time worth it, and have that, because I don't want her to be working on administrative stuff and wasting her time on that. So then now next step is hiring that, and I can open up more time to do podcasts like this to, have a constant flow of clients.
Right. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. And your story is very powerful. Thank you for sharing it with me.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
This podcast has been prepared for general information purposes only and is not legal advice. This information is not intended to create, and receipt of it does not constitute an attorney-client relationship.